a big, warm welcome to your host this evening, Ehrmann. Come on, Milwaukee, Improv, how we doing tonight? All right. I'm your host, Dana. I'm so happy to be here. How do you feel about doing an in-person comedy show at a brand spanking new venue, huh? Yeah, this is pretty awesome. I have missed doing in-person comedy. I miss being in a room with people, feeling that energy, getting those laughs, even talking to real audience members after the show. Because seriously, one of the last ones that I did, afterwards, a drunk woman came up to me crying. She gave me a hug and then said in my ear, "You have a future." Hell yeah. My mom's not allowed at my shows anymore, you know what I mean? She's not, I don't think she's here. But one of the other last shows that I did afterwards, me and the other two comedians who were on the show, we stood by the door and this woman on her way out turned to the headliner and was like, "You were so hilarious. Thanks for the great show tonight." And then she turned to the second comedian and said, "You're so talented. Very glad I got to see the show." And then she turned to me and said, "I give you a lot of credit for getting up there. It's not the same. So brave," is what she said. But that woman was sober. But also my mom. God damn it, Carol. Stay home like I told you to. Please. But seriously, it's been a crazy time, as we all know. Like, I'm glad we got some semblance of summer this time around, because last year it's like they canceled all the things that make like a Wisconsin summer worth living. Like when I found out that they were canceling Summerfest last year, I was like, where am I supposed to get that sweet, sweet REO Speedwagon cover band action? I needs it. And then they canceled Wisconsin State Fair. And I was like, how do I meet my soulmate without that? You know that guy in the expo center who demonstrates how to use a juicer? I wanted to say yes to forever with that man, okay? It was a big loss. And then I found out that they were canceling the Bead and Button show. The Bead and Button show. And when I heard that, I was like, what the fuck is the Bead and Button show? And who's going to that, huh? Explain yourself. Just kidding, don't explain it. I don't want to hear about it. It sounds lame as hell. It's like, never explain to me what the Bead and Button show is. Please do not tell me what cryptocurrency is. Like, I am not going to learn about that until I have to, right? And even then, maybe I'll just be like, I had a good run. I'm not supposed to be a part of this. But, you know, it's been nice going back to my day job in person in the office, because I share an office with an older woman named Fran. I think we all have a Fran in our lives. It's an older woman who craves details about your personal life. Like they're like vitamins to this person, and they've been very deficient. They can't get enough. And it's like I did have a new little detail to tell, because I have a boyfriend, and I was like, should I tell her? Should I not tell her? And I was like, okay, I'll go for it. And I said, Fran, hey, just wanted you to know, I'm seeing someone. And Fran was like, Dana, that's fantastic. I hear therapy helps a lot of people. It's not what I meant, Fran. It's not what I meant. I'm in therapy, but that's not what I meant at the time, right? Like, I am in therapy, and I don't care what Fran thinks about that, because at least I'm committed to, like, bettering myself. And she's only committed to never learning how to save something into a PDF. Like, I'm always having to do that for her. Like, I want to make changes, and she's still putting 2 spaces after the period when she's typing. No one's done that since the 80s. Some of you are still doing it, and you're mad at me right now. Like, I don't care. I tell it like it is, okay? I'm the truth teller. You don't need to be doing that. But before I worked with Fran, I worked someplace else. I worked at Kohl's Corporate. Where my Kohl's heads at, Hey, I love sales that aren't really sales as much as the next person. Okay, but I don't have Kohl's cash on me right now, so. I used to work there. If you ever went on the website and clicked on an item of clothing, there's a little 1 to 2 sentence description of that item of clothing. That was this gal. I wrote those. Everything there is to say about button-down plaid shirts, I've said it. There's nothing left. Sir, you probably bought that because of me. I'm just gonna... Pretty sure. And doing that all the time, I was like, this is driving me insane. What can I do to make this better for myself? And I decided I was gonna try to incorporate random song lyrics into the descriptions, just to see what I could get away with. And some of them worked better than others. You start small. And you say something like, all you need is love. And this Sonoma Life and Style button-down plaid shirt. Then I was hooked and I kicked it up a notch. And I said something like, say bye, bye, bye to your old style. And hello to your new style in this Sonoma Life and Style button-down plaid shirt. That had to be the pinnacle, but I kept going. I flew close to the sun. I said something like, I got me a Chrysler, it seats about 20, so hurry up and bring your jukebox money. The Love Shack is a little old place where we can wear this Sonoma Life and Style button-down plaid shirt. I don't work there anymore. It's gotta be unrelated. I actually think when they hired me that I was a diversity hire. I think that, being a clothing company, that they generally try to hire people with a fashion sense, but they were like, legally, we also do have to hire someone who still wears their Dare shirt in earnest. Yes, we do. I was happy to fill that role. Anyone got older siblings in the crowd? What are we doing here? Yeah? Okay, clapping. I relate to those of you that just gently raised your hand. If you wooed, you didn't get beat up growing up, and I don't get that. So I got older siblings, and it's like a problem, right? Because when you're growing up, you go to the same school that they went to, you have some of the same teachers that they had. One day your teacher looks at you and accidentally calls you by your sibling's name. Happened to me all the time. I have 2 brothers, man. I didn't love that, but I do answer to Zachary sometimes. And so, 2 older brothers, they're twins. I told a friend that they were twins. She didn't already know it. And she got really weird about it. All of a sudden she was just like, oh, are they, And I was like, no, I don't know. You're acting like someone who wants to ask me if my brothers are hot, and I don't want to answer that question. So she kept going, and she was like, are they, like you? Just ask me if they're hot, if that's what you want to know, right? Yeah, but she finished her thought, and she was like, are they, like you? Super weird. That was her point the whole time. Can you believe that? I was mad. I was like, super weird. I don't know what the hell you're talking about. And I just got out of there. I put my cape back on, and I went back to the basement to keep making dolls out of my own hair. I don't get it. And I never will, right? But hey, I got a pap smear recently. Where my lovers of gynecological health, huh? That should be every one of you. It affects all of us. Get on board. Now, before we get into the hairy details, I do want to just set one thing straight. I do think it's called a pap smear, right? not a pap schmear. Like, they're not pulling the speculum out and slapping it on a bagel. No, they're not. Not where I go. I do not go to a combination doctor's office caribou coffee. It's not happening. So now that we've established that, like, I was just sitting in my little waiting room, right? And my doctor just comes in really quick and she's like, "Hey, Dana, I've got a male intern with me. Wants to know if he could sit in on the procedure." And like, I don't know, how come male interns are only ever around when I gotta get my lady parts checked? Like, I got a persisting foot fungus, but when I say that, just tumbleweeds. They're never around. Guess they're already experts. So I just think that's suspicious. But I'm a nice gal, so I allowed it. And it was no big deal. It happened, he watched, and then it was over. And my doctor left the room. And I thought the male intern was also gonna leave the room. But before he did, he just stopped and leaned in towards me and said very quietly, "Thank you for the experience." Thank you for the experience. Like, what are you, a goddamn Make-A-Wish kid? What is that? Fight the good fight, kid. I'll be thinking about you. That's unbelievable. Like, I don't know what the proper response to that is still. Thank you for the experience. Like, what do you say, like, anytime? That's not it. And then, what about my pleasure? Absolutely not. That is worse, in fact. What about, like, I got me a Chrysler? No. That's not it. I think what I did say in the moment was, no problem. And it's crazy that I would say that because I assure you, it was a problem. Guys, that's the first joke I've ever told on stage about my vagina. Love y'all. No, I didn't even know I was gonna come here tonight and do that joke, but I asked a friend what she thought, and she was just like, "Well, Dana, just know that once you tell one joke on stage about your vagina, it's a slippery slope after that." I said, "Hey, if you're on antidepressants, it's actually a dry slope." Okay. If you know, you know. So, I've had a lot of fun with y'all. This is such a fun show. I do gotta go back and clarify one thing. Do you remember towards the beginning of my set when I was like, I have a boyfriend? I don't. I'm sorry, that wasn't true. That doesn't mean you have to feel bad for me, though. I'm doing just fine. Like, let's just say my bed hasn't been empty at night for a while. Can I say that? No, sure, like, I don't care what you say, yeah. Like, I'll even tell you, last night I was laying next to a pretty hairy fella. Couldn't keep his hands off me, I'm telling you, wow. It was a centipede. I found a centipede in my bed. I still came. 100 times. Are y'all ready for your next comic? Are y'all ready? We're so lucky to have this next comic who's visiting from